for Gravitas. You got to be a little surprised at the misplay.
This operation is illegal.
We get to take out a very bad...
These are all really bad trades for me. Just keep punching him in the face.
Great show today, folks. It's all right.
That's pretty nice. Play that. Do this. These two cards work really well together. I like him trading here and then putting that guy to my 3/3.
Our vigil shall never end. Our vigil shall never end.
I have the Wind Fury, I have the Divine Shield. Do I have any taunts? I don't think I do. That is okay.
Winter is here.
Ooh, that's the full package, man. I built this deck pretty good. I have a taunt, a lifesteal, yeah, got all of it. Pretty awkward trades for him. I guess I popped my Divine Shield with one of them.
I wonder.
And doesn't even need to kill it with the second. That's a little better for him, but still pretty unfortunate. Just build up a nice board. Hopefully he just ignores all this. Next turn I can Silver Sword and make him very sad. He'll probably just kill this with his 6/1, but that's good for me.
You are not welcome
It's a
here.
bit unfortunate, but
Reporting for duty.
manageable. He doesn't trade. He'd be smart to trade, but so we only need 2 of these on a minion to kill that.
I wonder.
For
justice. The battle.
Kill off this guy. Yes.
The battle. The battle.
Giggles would be really nice here.
Let me think. Play by the rules.
Oh,
justice.
It's 2 damage in hand, I'm dead.
The universe unravels.
I wonder. Well played. Well played. Reporting for duty.
My duty is to the king. For the king! Kneel down!
For justice.
Oof, loud. Let's check that. boy, it's a nice photo. Let's see if there's a better way to do it. This is gonna be how we're doing it. Right, it's 1:30. I'm all set. All right. Let's get this started. All right, we should be live. Hello everyone. I am High King Masenko, and right now I'm all by myself. My heir has not shown up yet, and I'm also expecting possibly to have Big Bobbert on a little later. See if he'll join us, but for now it's just me. I'm gonna play some Civ 6 by myself. This is the first official stream of Norway, so this is very exciting for all of us, and I'm going to take this stream to give a little rundown of some of the mechanics in Civ 6 and some of the new mechanics from Gathering Storm, just so that everyone is pretty up to date on what this game is and how it's played and what you should be looking out for. I'll also probably go over some of the laws that I'm sort of bound by, sort of what the Constitution is all about for some of those players who maybe aren't familiar with how the government runs here in Democraciv and how that relates to what I'm doing in game as well. So this is Civ 6, and yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna queue up into a single player game. We're gonna create the game right now. I'm gonna advance setup. And so over here, I'm just gonna pull up the Game Settings Act. This was just passed today, which is why I'm playing today. This is gonna tell us exactly how to set up the game. So to go a little bit over how government works and how this got passed in the first place, is we have a bicameral legislature. One is the state assembly, one chamber is the national assembly. And in the state assembly, it's a bunch of legislators elected by people from the various states. Right now we only have one state because we only are going to be having one city at the start of the game. So everyone's living in the same state right now, so that's not super relevant as to how it's broken up just yet. But then anything introduced, any laws, start in the state assembly, and then once they're passed, they get handed over to the National Assembly, which is a much smaller group of nationally elected people. For the purposes of right now, the state assembly and national assembly are the exact same in terms of the people electing them. Yeah, and then once they review that legislation, if they pass it as well, then it's enacted into law, and that's how this was passed, and this is how the other two relevant laws that I'll be looking at during this game were passed. So my job is High King. I have a couple powers, but mostly I'm here to just click the buttons. I'm here to click the buttons for the legislature and for all of you, based on our democratic system. Yeah, so let's just set up the game real quick and maybe talk a little bit about what some of these things mean. So obviously we are playing as Norway. Of course, there was a referendum to decide that. Harold Hodrada. And speed standard. Continents. Continents is basically there's going to be two big land masses that we're going to be starting on. Map size, huge. Where is that? That puts a lot more civs in the game and makes the map really, really big. Game difficulty is King. That's just above. It's a little above average. A lot of us think that Prince is pretty easy, so playing on King is probably the right difficulty level. Let's see. Next is sea level. Everything else is standard except for a couple things. Sea level is going to be high. This is really to synergize with Harold's abilities. So where's the sea level? There it is. So we're going to put that on high. It says a map with more water. So basically that means just less land, more water. Since Harold Hardrada is a very naval-focused civ, we figured that this would be pretty appropriate. And since we're on continents, there'll still be a lot of landmass and a lot of territory to expand into. And a lot of neighbors will have more flexibility for being able to use our boats. God, I love that. I love the Civ 6 theme. It's very good. Let's see. Resources will be abundant. You know, I don't usually play with abundant resources, but I don't see why not. It's just, I think there's a little bit more. I tested it a couple times, and it seems pretty good. All victory conditions of the game will be used except for score. So we can turn off score victory. The start of the official game will be balanced. Let's see. Start position balanced. There you go. Victory conditions turned off. No turn timer will be used. Okay. That's not an option for single player, so that doesn't matter. 10 civilizations. So I believe there are currently 12. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11? Yeah, 12, including myself. So we're going to take away 2 of those, right? That leaves us with 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And then 10 with us. And then the city-states will be set to 20. And disaster level is already at 2. So here we are. Our settings are all set. We're going to start the game. Alrighty. Loading, please wait. So yeah, once it starts loading up, I can start going over some of Norway's abilities for us. And we can listen to Sean Bean talk for a minute. Yeah. So let's look at what Norway does. He has an ability called Thunderbolt of the North. This allows coastal rating for all naval melee units, and plus 50% production towards all naval melee units. So in other words, he produces boats faster, and they all get the ability to conduct coastal raids, which is basically pillaging / destroying your opponent's improved tiles from sort of an adjacent sea territory, which is pretty useful. I think in Gathering Storm they buffed raiding a lot, so that in the late game it's a lot more useful. You get a lot more for raiding. It's not just, you know, plus 10 gold. It scales better. So let's look at his other ability, Gnar. Units gain the ability to enter ocean tiles after researching the shipbuilding technology. This is unusual. Most things unlock it, I believe, at Celestial Navigation, but I could be wrong about that. So in other words, our land units can embark sooner than other civilizations. And additionally, naval melee units heal in neutral territory, which is something that navies can't do unless you're Norway, which is really nice. Units ignore additional movement costs from embarking and disembarking. So basically, we're just very, as you can see, we're very naval. We're very naval focused. And I believe that once we unlock shipbuilding, we also get the Viking longship, or maybe that's with just sailing. It's just a better galley. We can look at their actual stats later. Right now, actually. Okay. So let's look at that. Yeah, the Viking longship. It's a unique ancient era naval unit that replaces the galley, can pillage enemy coastal lands. That's just part of his ability. And capture civilians if adjacent using its coastal raiding ability. I think that's also included in the NAR. No. The Thunderbolt of the North? Yeah, I don't know. +4 movement while in coastal waters, so pretty good. Then the Berserker is a medieval era unit. Gains +10 combat strength when attacking and -5 combat strength when defending. So it's just exactly what it says it is. It's a Berserker, so that'll be really effective for combat. And then the Stave Church, which is unlocked. It replaces the, I believe, the temple, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll give us a lot of nice faith and production for coastal resources. So, as you can see, he likes being on the coast. He likes building ships. He likes being a bit aggressive. And yeah, let's get started. So, as we can see here, this is our start. Let's take some screenshots of this. And we can zoom in here, take another screenshot. So, some good settle positions. We like the fish here, and the crabs. We like the tobacco and the cattle. As you can see, there's a lot of resources. I think that's just from our being on abundant. I'm debating on whether or not I want to settle next to this river here, this little tiny river. Also, let's get some screenshots of the continent. We are in Africa, which is kind of fun. No religion. Appeal. Ooh. Now see, I like this. My party cares about this stuff. All this dark green. We love that. And then let's look here for the settler. So we're kind of in an interesting spot here because later in the game, these tiles here will flood once global warming starts being a factor. So we definitely don't want to settle like here, for instance. This might be okay since this is the third sort of level of that. But we do have to be careful. Also, let's talk a little bit about how this game works. Just so that everyone kind of understands what we're looking at here. So maybe I should settle first because that's where all the options are. So much like your regular old Civ game, there's a few things we're caring about right now, first of which is research. If you've ever played Civ, you'll recognize this. This is a tech tree. We have a certain amount of science output every turn once we settle our city. Right now it's 0. And each of these has a cost. So for instance, potteries cost 25 science, 25 science, 25 science, and these cost 50, and so on and so forth. 144 over here. Yeah, so basically it takes time to finish these, but once you pick something and you unlock it, you unlock different things. So for instance, if you do pottery, you get the granary. Over here, you can get a tile improvement like pastures and camps, and mining unlocks mines and quarries. So that when you build builders, you can improve these cattle over here. You can put a little pasture here, and you'll get I believe more food. I don't remember exactly. Not that that matters right now. And then something that Civ 6 has introduced in particular is this sort of second tech tree here, which are civics. It looks very similar, maybe a little fewer civics early on, but as you can see, there's a lot of civics overall. And right now, we're just automatically researching these code of laws. It's by default. You can't go to the next one without researching this. And what'll happen is once we unlock code of laws, we'll have these little policy cards here. And if we go to our, it doesn't look like we have government stuff yet. That might pop up later. But basically, what these do is you'll see this is like urban planning. +1 production in all cities. They're just sort of basic universal buffs that you get. And starting out, we're going to only have one military slot and one economic slot. And so the red ones are the military ones, their gold ones are the economic ones. There are other types of civics as well. So like if you look over here, you have these green ones, which are the diplomatic ones. And each one has its own specific slot. And these purple ones are like great person ones. They're kind of special. So a lot of them, you have to be very careful about what you pick. Once they're picked, they get kind of locked in for a little while until you research your next civic. So there's that. Let's settle. I think I like this spot here. I might take a gander with my warrior to see if there's anything over here that might be worth settling at. It doesn't really look like it, just based on my starting position. We don't want to waste too much time moving my settler around. So, let's just settle on spot. And there it is. We got a Eureka. So let me explain what Eurekas are right now. After I take a quick screenshot. So Eurekas, basically, they give you so if you look here, you see sailing has now been partially completed. We got about 40% of sailing done. Over here, astrology, you got a little blue bar here, that's sort of not filled in, right? So what it means to find a Eureka is to sort of satisfy a condition that this technology specifically wants you to do. For astrology, it's find a natural wonder. For sailing, it's found a city on the coast. So we just did that. We just found a city on the coast. And because of that, it gave us free science towards sailing, which is really cool. It's a really cool mechanic that's been introduced with Civ 6. And yeah, so we're actually going to start with sailing because if you look over here, we got a legislative order on research, which I am bound to follow. The order of research is first sailing and then astrology. And then after that, I have some flexibility to make some decisions on research. So yeah, that's very nice. So we're going to pick sailing right now. And let's pick a production as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with a scout. I think it's really important that we start out with some exploration. So let's do that. I'm going to check in to see if any of my friends message me. Nope. Okay. Just still by myself over here. Sorry if the stream isn't too entertaining right now. I'm just trying to explain some of the aspects of this game. I think it's really important that we get through it. So, yeah, that's turn 1 done so far. Got sailing. We got this continent of Africa discovered. These are the 2 screenshots that we got so far. Okay, And then, as you can see, we have now values for these things. Science, we're making 2.6 per turn. Culture, 1.3. Faith, 1 per turn. Where are we getting faith from? Oh yeah, we should definitely look at our citizens over here. Yeah, I like this spot a lot. This will get us a pantheon quickly. We got these two food, 2 production, which is really nice. I'd rather have 2 food, 2 production than 1 food, 3 production over there, or any of these 3 food spots. So yeah, I really like that spot. I like this tile a lot. And let's click next turn. Okay. We're going to do a little exploring. While nothing's happening, let's just take a little screenshot every turn. Make sure that everything is all in order. Looks like some tundra down here. Not much happening right now. We're also looking for these little goody huts, if we can find them. And I don't want to stray too far away. So, we met these damn barbarians over here. It's a little barbarian scout. We really don't want them to get close to our city. Because if the scout sees our city center, it will become alerted, and it will run back to its camp and alert that our city's there, and then send some barbarians to come raid us, which is not something that we want to do. So, our first scout has been finished. And we are moving on, trying to divert this guy away from our city. Alright, getting to see some of the layout of the land a little bit better. And I think for my first building, other than a scout, let's see. I think I might want another scout potentially. I think it's really important that if our second tech is going to be astrology, that we find a natural wonder as soon as we can. So I think possibly a second scout might be good, but a slinger might be good too if barbarians are going to give us trouble. Yeah, I think a second scout is what I want to do right now. I think we have enough production right now to warrant it. Let's give it a shot. Oh, and we met Peter of Russia. Hello, I am Tsar Peter. So, a cultured leader such as yourself must enjoy the finer things in life. Are you fond of art as well? So I'm going to tell him, would you like to visit our nearby city and sample our hospitality? I'm all about that diplomacy and being nice to our neighbors, especially when there's no other reason to. He says, yes, good. We have no other option to say goodbye. Alright, and because of that, we got a boost to writing. Okay. So our warrior is going to move here. We've been kind of unlucky. Yeah, here's another mechanic that I think is worth talking about right now. So here's our history timeline. Wary welcomes and curious stares remark the moment of our meeting with a people of Russia. And we get +1 era score for meeting him. This is turn 7 in 3760 BC. What is era score? So if you look down here next to our little end turn marker, we have era score of 1 right now. That's for meeting Peter. And in order to, so there's these things called sort of ages. There's dark ages, there's regular ages, and then there's golden ages. If we manage to make it to 12 era points by the end of the era, and what I mean by end of the era is eventually there's going to be someone who researches a classical era tech. Excuse me. Someone going to be researching a classical era tech, and once that happens, I think the timer starts, right? It's going to say era ends in 10 turns. Once the era does end, if you have above 12, you're in good shape. If you have below 12, we're going to have a dark age, which is not so good. Makes it so that our cities have less loyalty, which is sort of a mechanic that keeps your cities in line. If you have too few loyalty, then you could lose them. They could revolt against you. But once we reach above 12, we're good. And if we reach 24, at least in this era, then we can get a golden age. This golden age gives us some really interesting stuff. So that's tech boosted in writing, and then we're going to click next turn. Okay. Yeah, so Peter's a little unfriendly towards us right now. Not sure why, but that is okay. So let's actually go and look at what his stuff is. So all leaders in the AI at least have these agendas. One that's just assigned to the leader that's always constant. So Peter will always have this ability, Westernizer. And then a hidden agenda. So we don't really know what this hidden agenda is right now. But Westernizer, he says he's friendly to civilizations that are ahead of him in science and culture, and dislikes civilizations that are lacking in science and culture. So let's go look at -4 for an unknown reason. Yeah, he doesn't. We don't know why he doesn't like us very much. That might be related to his hidden agenda, or maybe we just don't really have good science and culture compared to him right now. But yeah, anyway, so that's a little unfortunate. We could send him a delegation to make him like us a little bit, and we'd get some info as to what he's doing in his capital. But I think we're going to hold off for now, especially if he doesn't like us that much. I don't think it's necessary to send a delegation. And I was also not sure what our what my power is there, whether or not the legislature will be on my ass for spending gold when I'm not really allowed to. Let's see, let's go this way some more. Still no goody huts, unfortunately. So rumor has it that Russia is worshipping a pantheon of the gods focused on the dance of the Aurora belief. So Russia actually does have really good faith generation just due to being near tundra, I believe. So that's not surprising that he got a pantheon so early, but we definitely want to keep an eye out on that. We do have 2 citizens now. Sorry, let's see. Yeah, that's good. That's where I wanted it to be. Got 1 faith here. Let's see, how close are we to Pantheon? 25 faith needed, so we're almost there. We'll get there soon. Taking lots of screenshots. Alright. Moving on up. Got our second scout. I think I'll send my scout this way. Start exploring that side of the continent. And let's choose our next choose our next thing. I'm thinking we do need probably a little bit more defense. But we could also go for the early settler. Are there any spots in particular that would be good to settle? Probably not really, huh? Alright, well, I mean, these all look pretty decent. There might be something to be said for up here. Need these mountains with these gypsum and wine and wheat. Maybe over here with these crabs. But I still think that we should get some more defense. So I'm going to start on a slinger. Actually, maybe we do start on a settler, and then we switch over to a Viking longship once this is finished in 2 turns. I like that idea more. So we're gonna produce a settler for 2 turns, just so we can get started on one, save us the production time since there's nothing really else better to build. Looks like Peter's coming to say hi. Oh, and it looks like we found a barbarian encampment right near our city. This is what I mean why we needed possibly some defense. But I think we'll be okay for now. But I'll start bringing back my warrior. Excuse me. Alright, we finished sailing. Unlocks the Viking longship, and builders can build fishing boats for us. And this also allows builders to embark in particular. Keep moving our scout. There's another scout here, and I might want to try to deter it from coming towards the city. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually attack it with my scout. And then for our next research, it is ordered that I research astrology. So that'll be done in 15 turns. Hopefully we can find a natural wonder before this bar reaches the tip there. And we're going to click next turn. There's that scout that we met before. I think we can move here and start exploring over there. What I love about Civ's, the new expansion, is we actually got some names for all these rivers and stuff. So over here you'll see like the Volga River, and right by our capital we have the Gudbrandsdalslagen, which is quite the mouthful, but wouldn't you know it? Oh, and you know what? I forgot to switch to Viking longship, but that's okay. We'll do that right now. Just got an extra turn with the settler. That's okay. Click next turn. Alrighty. So we finished civics. And I think I might have to pause here. Because I have not been ordered which civics to pick. So, but we've taken a screenshot of this, and we can actually take a look at what I was talking about before. Now that we can see that, we have our government here. It allows us to change policies. Take a screenshot of that. So we have 1 military policy and 1 economic policy we could choose. These are the new ones we just got. Right. Then, let's take a look at... Can't see any of the other ones. Okay. Well, that's that. And we don't have orders for the next civics either, so we'll do that once the legislature gives me what that is. take some more screenshots of all this. Let's do the world rankings. Oof. We are low on all of this, but that's to be expected early game since we're against higher difficulty than just bare average. Yeah, anyway. Era progress. List of reports, yields. Let's take some screenshots of these. And yeah, I mean that's gonna be it, I think, right now. So thanks everyone for tuning in. This seems to be a pretty good start so far. Let me know if I broke the law and I need to be sued. Alright, thanks.